Some people discover what they want to be when they grow up at a young age. I was not one of them. In college, I took any class that interested me and changed my major several times. Education or teaching never crossed my mind. One day I ran into my cousin on campus, and he encouraged me to take a press photography class. He was a copy editor on the student newspaper, and he knew I enjoyed taking photos. I took the course and I was hooked. I switched majors for the last time. I spent the rest of my college career taking photographs. I never tired of the assignments or subject matter. Learning to document news and tell a story with pictures became my passion. My senior year, I did an internship in Cairo, Egypt, with an English language newspaper called Al Haram Weekly. I covered assignments in Egypt and in Israel. After graduation, I was unable to find a job at a newspaper in my state and did not want to move out of state. After working a few odd jobs, a friend hired me in her pesticide research lab, and I was trained on the job to collect samples, process the samples in the lab, and analyze the data. A few years later, another friend asked me to come and work in his lab investigating lung injury. Again, I was trained on the job to grow cells and conduct experiments on them. After 7 years in this lab, we lost funding and I was to lose my job. I began searching for other research jobs but decided I did not want to continue working in the labs. I wanted to try my hand at photography again. While searching for photo jobs, I stumbled upon an ad for a Montessori school. Something inside me said, "This is the job you should take." I immediately rewrote my resume and headed to Park City to convince them to hire me, and eventually they did. About a month later, I drove up the California coast to the Montessori Education Center, San Francisco Bay Area, where I spent 6 weeks training with Montessori educators who taught me how to give lessons, how to use the materials properly, and how to engage students. I practiced the lessons by being a child and by being the teacher. I presented lessons for my instructor and for the class. I photographed my instructors presenting lessons and took copious notes so I could remember all that I learned. Finally, after 6 weeks, I was ready to begin my practicum. I interned in the White Feathers class, where my Montessori education continued. After a few months, I was given more responsibilities in the classroom, like giving lessons, switching out work on the shelves, and record keeping. During my practicum year, I also observed many other classrooms, attended workshops, and wrote papers. Finally, in the fall of 2008, I became a head teacher with my own class. My journey to become a Montessori teacher did not involve any traditional education courses. I was trained on the job just as I was in my previous professions as a lab technician and research assistant. My liberal arts education and lots of life experience contributed to my success as a Montessori teacher. But the key to my success was my practicum year. I was mentored for an entire year with an experienced teacher. I did not learn the classroom management skills during my training in the Bay Area. I learned them from my mentor and from my own classroom experience. I believe some good teachers are born and some are made, and if you are an effective teacher, the path you took to teaching should not matter. Education never ends, and effective teachers continually work to improve their practice.